Hello everyone, it's me again. This guy woke up and was surprised when his body had only the brain and 2 lungs. Then the scientists here upgrade and assemble into a super modern and modern assembly. There is no less than the army's fighting robots becoming the first robot police in the world. And now, he is taking advantage of these technologies to investigate the past as well as the cause of his becoming like this. So, the real reason for this incident is why? Who is the mastermind behind? And can he reclaim the justice for himself? Let's follow me to uncover the movie RoboCop. A group of reporters appearing on the streets of Iran to make a reportage the influence of security robots on human life here. These robots are equipped with guns and the most advanced technologies that help them check their bodies and identities and make assessments whether or not to be potentially dangerous. Of course, the Iranians did not welcome the robots that Americans bring. It makes them feel like being dominated and oppressed every day. There is absolutely no way to deal with the other iron lumps. But today, the opportunity has come. Just cleverly has an American radio to film live the purpose for everyone to see the scene of peace here. However, the local guerrilla army intended to take this opportunity to protest. They detonated the bomb carrying on the front of the tube glass to make the whole world pay attention to the crimes of the United States. Of course, those people were quickly destroyed. But with my will, they want to use life to let everyone know the so-called civilization of the empires. The scene now is extremely catastrophic. Shortly thereafter, the son of the guerrilla team captain to revenge his father, not thinking about anything but took a knife to cut the food in the house to run out to the street. Because this knife was also considered a dangerous weapon, after being discovered by the robot, immediately opened fire. This scene, of course, was recorded by the camera. At this time, at the studio is broadcasting the other program. Fear of the recent scenes will cause people to react, so immediately ask to disconnect to lick the case. And this is our male lead, named Murphy, a police officer of the Criminal Police Department. He is with his teammate disguised to find out a weapons trading line of the name of the beam named Valen. There is a special thing that the entire gun that this beam sold out was originated from the police department of the police department. This means that there is a traitor within the internal person slipping out to make an illicit profit. After that, the two also met the name of a beam at a restaurant in the city. When the conversation had just happened half, his people called the newspaper Murphy is the police located. The cluster had just stepped out when his juniors immediately warmed up warmly into the restaurant. Hong wants to kill Murphy with his friend. It was clear that the insider took a step ahead. A fierce gunfire took place. Our enemies were strong and strong. But fortunately with his skills, he finally chased the enemy. But the black friend is a bit of a seriously shot in the abdomen. Although it does not affect life, it must also be long-term hospitalization. The next day, a question took place to vote for whether or not to let security robots appear on the U.S. street. Society offers 2 mixed opinions. On one side, those who want to support the law allows robots and unmanned aircraft to appear on the U.S. street, led by Raymond, the president of the military engineer. And one side is opposing this bill, because they are afraid that robots do not have humanity. Shooting an Iranian teenager is the simplest proof. After a debate, the number of votes was up to 72%. So the government still decides that robots are not allowed to go down in any way. Of course, this has made Raymond, the owner of the robot manufacturing group, extremely headache. Anyway, he is the largest engineer here. The robots in the military are his company's products. Originally, Raymond wants to expand its scope of activities so that the robot is allowed to buy and sell domestically and replace the police's position. The accounting department said that if the bill is approved, the revenue of the company will increase to $600 billion each year. This is really a huge bargain. Unable to lose that huge amount of money, Raymond made a very bold decision. That is, to create a robot hybrid to circumvent the law. He immediately went to his best robotic science doctor and asked for planning this project. Here, the 2 metamorphic police people came to the Valen boss and gave him the address and license plate of Murphy for revenge. Then, when he was visiting his teammate in the hospital, one of his hands and feet stealthily bombed his bomb under his car. That night, Murphy returned home like the normal days. The car's horn was moist. When I went out to check, the bomb suddenly exploded, causing himself to seriously affect himself. Level 4 burns of 80% of the body, the lower spine is damaged to the point of irreversible. Eyes and ears are completely broken, so the audio functions also have no way to regenerate. The doctor diagnosed if he was lucky to live, he also had to sit in a wheelchair for life. Raymond's company proposed to Murphy's wife that if you sign a contract for your husband to participate in this robot project, this is the highest opportunity, can help him survive and reintegrate. 3 months later, Murphy was revived in a half-bodied body. When he really regained consciousness, discovered his body's bone with his flesh was lost. The whole body becomes an iron and steel block, of course, inevitably panic, psychological trauma. Then, so on the outside, jumping through the high wall of the 2-story building, running straight to the next field. The doctor in here, there was no way to calm him down, had to turn off the switch of Murphy and bring it to the research room. It is also impossible to blame. No one can accept when suddenly, after a period of waking up, Ben has become a robot. So this time, the doctor intended to talk frankly with Murphy, let him look at the mirror to look at himself today. Remove all the robots on the body, Murphy is only a head, an arm, and a part of the organs. Indeed, this scene has made our male lead blankly, looking at our lack of body without being touched. He said frankly that he did not want to live in this form a moment. But the doctor reassured Murphy that they only intervened in the body parts, and the brain and reason were completely owned by him. In addition, his wife and children are also very eager to return to his husband and father. Hearing someone mentioning his family, Murphy also started to fall in love and accepted the request. However, in the accident, Murphy's body has been exploded with most of the organs. So every day wake up, you will have to use a special tube to plug into the British to eliminate the virus and bacteria in the blood and pump more in it the nutrients needed for the body. It is like charging the robot. He was then taken to a laboratory in China to practice the test. This poker is the manager of the entire military robot of the company. He is introducing Murphy the equipment and functions of the armor he is wearing. He believed that people could never love as a robot. So, it is a bit dislike when the company is implementing the project to bring people into transplants with robots, and think that it is a terrible step back of technology. The test is to assume a relief hostage. His opponent is a military robot. Maybe because the body has not been in love or is not familiar with new technology, so Murphy ended the test with the result of losing 5.9 seconds slower than Kian people. The reason is that the normal robot, after evaluating the danger, will immediately open fire, and Murphy's armor, after evaluating the danger, will transfer data to his brain. After that, his feelings will decide the next action. Therefore, in the face of the test of the hostage, Murphy will be afraid of being hostage and a little delay. For this result, Raymond was extremely dissatisfied, thinking that this was unacceptable. Incarnating the doctor, who did not need to know how to renovate Murphy so he became stronger. At least it must be equal to the other robots. Out of the way, the doctor could only limit his nerves that control his emotions. The powers of the armor are changed. When not yet entered the battle state, it is still under the control of Murphy. And after the warrior is activated, the armor will take over all actions. It is also after the mask lowered to automatically fight like an inhumane machine. This test will be between Murphy and his head to make a group of fighting robots. With this new upgrade, our male lead easily owns the game. He defeated those robots simply as if walking in the park. This is still not worthy to be Murphy's opponent. He alone with 2 guns calmly weigh the map. These robots in this chai now have no door to win him. The speed of identifying the situation to make his fighting plan is now implemented almost immediately. There was no hesitation or fear as before. This makes Raymond, inside observing, seem very satisfied. That night, he met his teammate again and said that from tomorrow he would start searching the Valen cluster and his gang. Being reunited with each other, both seem very happy. Inside the laboratory, the doctor is conducting Murphy's brain connection to the police department's data system. At the same time, he also provided him with a large amount of information about the huge crime, and the processor will link the evidence from security cameras with their crimes. But in a short time, having to load too much data has made him show signs of talent. So serious that the processing system of Murphy is at risk of damage. Therefore, the doctor had to command to turn off the power immediately. He then had to use some tips for making his nerves. This means taking away some of his perception. Murphy is now more like a machine than humans. Do not know fear, do not know the hand. When he walked across the hall to meet his wife and children, he did not have any emotions. In the launch of the robot police project to all cities, people were very excited to witness for the first time it seems like it is. Suddenly, Murphy's processing system identified a wanted criminal hiding in the crowd. Immediately, he rushed down and defeated him in half a note. This has directly resonated in the public opinion, causing people to begin to have a different view of the robot that replaces people to enforce the law. But Murphy's wife and former teammates, Murphy was afraid, because they felt the humanity in him was increasingly drowning. The next time was Murphy's criminal arrest. He completely acted like a machine. There is no emotion at all. The crime rate of the city since the robot police has decreased 80%, and the number of supporters of the bill for robots to participate in the execution also increased greatly. But at this moment, a strange thing happened. Scientists were surprised that Murphy by some miraculously captured the system's priority. Instead of searching for images of criminals, he searched for information about his wife and son again. It seems that the male lead has begun to return and control his body. In one time, he intended to cross home to visit his son. The system suddenly reported the scene of a bad case. That was the car explosion that he was the victim. Murphy accessed the police department's data and quickly found this information. He started to investigate the person behind his accident. No one else is the Valen cluster name. Because he could not find the position of the beam name on security camera, he followed a henchman. After questioning the warehouse and gathering location of Valen, the male lead immediately set out there. Here, the cluster has also been reported by the metamorphic police, so he worried about his juniors to be ready to fight. In a dark squid warehouse, alone, Murphy must resist with nearly 50 enemies. But with the help of advanced technology, he easily destroyed all of them. One by one, each name took a change down. Capital intended to capture Valen to interrogate a little more clues. But because the opponent frantically resisted, he had to defeat him. But this trip was not wasteful. When on the weapon he used, Murphy scanned the fingerprints of the 2 police officers. Obviously, they are the internal cockroaches hiding for a long time. He immediately returned to the police department to clarify everything. With the authentic evidence given, the police knew he could not escape, so he tried to resist. But Murphy was still one step faster, shooting first, causing the remaining insider to be scared, and immediately opened everything. It turned out that the person who led these cases was the director. It was she who had previously reported to the Beam name. When preparing to make her admit her crime in front of everyone, he suddenly fell to the floor. It turned out that the first name was sitting first Murphy's monitor screen. When he saw the situation was too tense, he turned off his operating system to prevent risks. After that, the company issued a notice to the public that the Murphy robot police died while investigating the case. Aims to gain empathy of the people and senators for the vote tomorrow. They are only interested in the bill through to sell a lot of military robots to the government to make a profit. In addition, the name of President Raymond was also afraid that if Murphy later investigated the crimes of political businessmen, then it were these people could not escape. Until then, will not only do business, but also very likely to be jointly. Therefore, Raymond immediately called the doctor to come and ask Murphy to kill silently. In order for him to be like a hero who died when he was on duty, permanently disappeared in everyone's eyes. But it is an inhumane job. The doctor could not agree with that. So he rushed to the base, unlocked all the transmission, and restricted the Murphy's body. This helps all the company's people cannot control him anymore. Now, Murphy has just heard Raymond deceiving him and his family all the time. So I want to kill me. Of course, extremely angry. Immediately boarding the car with the intention to go to find and solve the one who took advantage of him up to now. But it is not easy to catch Raymond. His company's security is dense heavy military robots. Every child is equipped with the most modern technological weapon. The fighting power must be on par with a battalion, not playing. His guns shot these children as nothing, like the nose of the electric pole. In addition, comprehensive craftsmanship, find forever without any weaknesses. This scissors are a bit difficult for our male lead. He jumped straight to the head of a child, floating into it. But its armor is no different from the coated car. In just a moment, they made Murphy was seriously injured. When he was shot by these giant robots to fly, then fortunately there was a group of his former teammate to run, take his body to stop. Because all robots at the factory are installed with human protection mode, they do not can injure those who are not carrying weapons. So when he was blocking in front of Murphy, these busy people could not open fire. Thanks to that, our male lead has a life. Avoid melon skin to meet coconut shells, just escaping from the robots, then encountered this first name. There is a problem that the armor he is wearing is made by this company, so it has a safe function that is not harmful to the important people of the company. This means that Murphy cannot do anything for him. Facing this situation, he could only turn away. But fortunately, the black teammate promptly ran to handle the first name, once again helping Murphy escape. When the terrace is on, Raymond discovered the same names his accomplices, preparing to sit on the helicopter. Not only that, he also forced Murphy's wife and children to come here to be hostages. Although in theory, his body does not allow damage to this Raymond name, but when he dirtied his gun to rape his family, Murphy's reason once again rising to occupy control, finally destroying the system limitations. Immediately shooting and killing him, sculpting, success saved his family. His wife and children also immediately ran to the side. All three moved to hold hands tightly. At the end of the film, Murphy, under the help of the doctor, was changed another delicious armor. And of course, this time, his reason will take control, not any computer system. He could finally return to live with his feelings along his beloved family. The president has also signed the body to prevent the use of military robots instead of the police, to ensure the unfortunate incidents as recently. This is an American fantasy action movie called The Robot Police, launched in 2014. The film brings a profound message about the struggle between people and technology and our meaning in an increasingly technological world. The Robot Police also emphasize the need for humanitarianism and the self-decision of each individual in technical advances and technology development. Although Murphy is equipped with state-of-the-art technology, he cannot be entirely a machine. It must maintain the sensitivity and human morality. Faced with the safety of the family, the most precious things of yourself are in danger. Today's video is over. Thank you for watching. If you find it interesting, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and watch my other videos. Goodbye and see you again.